All right, welcome back to Tips with a Pro. Today we're going to talk about carpet spotting. We as professionals have our own chemicals that we actually use that we get from commercial outlets. But today we're going to focus on what you as just the regular individual, homeowner, etc. would use to spot carpet. As you've seen from the video, we've stained this piece of carpet with coffee, mustard, and soda. And we've done that because typically those are the stains that we run into most of the time. And that's why we got it with you. So let's look at a couple tips about how we spot in general. First of all, when we're spotting, we aren't scrubbing back and forth. We're actually trying to make the spot smaller by forcing the spot inward so we can pick it up and remove it. Secondly is I'm using a microfiber towel. What does that do? It just basically cleans better. It cleans better than a cotton towel. They say 10 times better than just a regular cotton towel. It'll actually hold the soil better. Let's talk about the chemicals that we typically use to spot carpet. As professionals, the first thing, believe it or not, that we would use is a glass cleaner. Well, why is that? Glass cleaner is a high alkaline, so any type of soil that may be an acid or something that hasn't really set in, this is going to clean it really fast, and it usually has some form of an alcohol, so it dries very fast and doesn't let it resoil. That's our first step. Now these two are stuff that we just got from the grocery store. So Folex is just a general carpet cleaning chemical. It can basically get any type of soil, at least that's what it says from the bottle. And then lastly is something you guys see a lot is like a Resolve. Now, another benefit of glass cleaner, these have a lot of surfactants in it, these next two. So what that does, it actually attracts soil. So while a lot of people say, well, now I have a clean spot in my carpet, that's why we're attracting the soil, because we're leaving a high alkaline on the carpet, and as we're walking it, we're actually cleaning our feet. And that cleaning of our feet, that dirt, so to speak, is getting stuck on the stains that we've treated. So that's why we always try to go the mildest first and then try something in between the range like these two. All right, so let's get started. All right, so first we're gonna try glass cleaner on our soda stain right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wet it just enough that I know I can encapsulate, so to speak, the entire stain. Now, again, I'm not gonna scrub it. I'm gonna push it towards the middle in a circle, as you see me doing here. Now, as we notice, as we clean it, the outside of this circle, this soda, when we dropped it on here, it actually spread quite a bit. So now realizing that, I'm gonna pick this up, and I'm gonna treat the entire stain. So don't just expect that, oh, well, it was a little stain, I spotted it. As they dry, they really spread out quite a bit. So again, what we're using here is our glass cleaner. We'll get a clean portion of our towel so you can see it, and forcing it inwards. And as I get the soil out, which you see here on the towel, I'm going to switch to cleaner sides. So now I want to dry it. I want to get as much as we can possibly get. And as you see here, again, I'm pushing it towards the middle. We can see the majority of our stain is already getting transferred to our towel. And now I'll just tap it dry. If I'm worried about the amount of stain that I left on there or the amount of chemical, and I want to make sure that the stain actually gets removed, I can lay a towel just like this and place a book on it. Wait till the next day, and then as the actual carpet dries, that stain is going to be lifted and it's going to dry into the towel you have on top of it. So that's another way to guarantee that this stain isn't going to come back. So that's just a little tip that we use in a professional setting. So there's that stain. Now we're going to get something a little bit more difficult. We saw the mustard stain. I'm 99% sure that the glass cleaning method is not going to work for mustard because, again, mustard has a lot of dyes. So what we're going to try on this case is we're going to try the Folex. So same thing. I'm not spraying around it everywhere there isn't a stain. I'm just spraying the stain. And again, if I did do that, I would create more of a stain in the long run because this pH of this chemical is not going to get removed just by wiping it clean. Again, another clean towel, pushing towards the middle. And again, mustard is one of the harder ones to clean. As you can see here, it comes right up in our towel, and it's really orange. Again, you can see how the stain is transferring. This is going to take a little bit more chemical than I thought. But again, my method of pushing it in towards itself will help you in the long run to get this stain out and not create a bigger problem, down the road. So as you can see there, we may have to retreat this stain. The best time to retreat it is go ahead and let it dry, let the chemical do its job, treat it again. So let's move on as we let this one dry, and then we'll see if the stain actually came out. And let's move on to our coffee stain, which is typically the hardest stain to remove for a couple reasons. When the coffee bean dries, it actually requires an acid for removal. But if you're looking at it, coffee has a high acid content as I'm drinking coffee. So it's kind of counterintuitive thinking, okay, why would I do that? But for some reason, and for this time, we're gonna try Resolve. They say that this works really great. Again, this is for household chemicals. And this coffee, as you can tell, it's spread all over this carpet. And again, I'm not spraying out here where there wasn't a stain. Again, clean towel, pushing it towards the middle. I like to use light colored towels because you can see if it transfers or not, just like we did with that mustard. You can see the foaming of this chemical. That's what people will struggle with in the future, getting that clean stain. And again, you can use the method where you're putting something heavy on top of it, letting it dry overnight. And then that will force that stain to dry into this towel, and you'll take it off. And your stain will be gone. As you see here, you can see the brown coffee has been removed and it's placed into this microfiber towel. I always like to make sure that I get it out by pressing down on it. The drier that it is, the faster that it dries, the better. You could even go to the extreme of grabbing a blow dryer and forcing the tops of this dry, and then the stain can't reappear. So that's kind of a insider trick for carpet cleaning, especially with stain removal. So as we see here, let's look at what we've dealt with. We've dealt with soda over here, pretty easy to remove. Coffee, believe it or not, was okay to remove. I expect that when it dries, you're still gonna be able to see quite a bit of a stain. With that, we'll use an acid to rinse this out and the stain will go away. And as you notice, the mustard really wants to dye this carpet. Now, we're gonna go back to this Resolve. All right, so what we'll do is let this dry for the night, come back and we'll show you how the stains were removed. All right, so we've waited overnight. It's the next day. Let's go ahead and remove our towels and let's take a look at what we got. So the first one was our soda stain. Of course, our mustard stain, which was not an easy task. And lastly is coffee. So, look what we got here. So as you see, all the stains got removed and carpet's back to normal. Thank you for joining us in our Tips with a Pro, and we'll see you next week. If you like what you saw here, go and smash that like, hit the subscribe, and you'll be notified every time we make a video. Thanks everybody, see you soon.